Hello everyone, it's me, DillysSims. Welcome back to my channel. Today is Speed Build Sunday, and so I decided to make a retail store. I don't think I've made a retail store as of late, or ever on my channel. No, I did. When I did my Hugh Hefner Playboy Let's Play. Yeah, that was fun. You guys should check that out. Anyways, so I needed a store, a retail store, because if you watch my Girls in the City, you would know that, what's her name? Catherine. Catherine is getting married, and she needs a wedding dress for her beautiful day, her wonderful day that she's dreamt of since she was a little girl. And instead of going into the gallery and finding another lot that would probably be 3 times better than anything I create, mostly because I dislike any retail store I've ever made. Any of them. I feel like it's just huge and ugly. And this one, I felt kind of comfortable at first making it. Like, I really liked the way it was going, but then I started putting like products in there to sell, and then the back room became super cluttered, and like the whole layout of the store doesn't make any sense. But I was like, you know what, I already made it, it's done, bada bing bada boom, there's nothing I could do to make it better, so this is what we got. So as usual, I went onto Google and I used some pictures as references. Because, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I've only been in one bridal store in my entire life. And that was a year ago? Yeah! A year ago when my friend Kayla was getting married. Yeah. Gosh, they've been together for a whole year. Strange. It's really strange to think that. This whole year flew by so quickly. It feels like just, yesterday everyone was up in arms about who was going to be the president of the United States, and now it's been a whole year with the guy, and still pretty interesting to say the least. But whatever. How are you guys today? I'm doing amazingly well. Not to toot my own horn. I just came back from a long day of school, and I have work in 40 minutes. So I'm going to try to do this Let's Play, crank out a video to be scheduled for when is it? Saturday? Yeah, for Saturday. And yeah, that's my house, and then I'll go to work. And that'll be my next 40 minutes. Let me just put this on the record. I hate making retail stores. I hate it for a number of reasons. A, I hate the way I make retail stores every single time, which I can't say I've made too many. I think I've made enough to count on one hand. I'm more of making a residential home. I hate the outside part of the stores every single time because I feel like aesthetically it doesn't look good. This one doesn't, I can't say it's too ugly, but I just hate how it's just so square and box looking. But that's just me. That's probably why I'm also not a huge fan of modern homes, except my favorite thing about a modern home is glass windows, because I feel like if you make a glass house, a modern home, you have a lot of glass windows to the point that it looks like a glass house. Like with last week's speed build, I made Skanks. If you watch my 100 Baby Challenge, Skank Boob and Cockbird, that's her full name, needed a new house to live in, so I built her I'm saying mansion, but there's only like 3 bedrooms in there. I built her a modern home, and most of it is glass. I love that look. I just absolutely love it. But when I dream my own dream house, it's a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house with a white picket fence, and if I'm gonna live in California, it's gonna have to have a pool, because it gets really, really hot in California. Yes, just in case you were wondering what my dream house looks like. I should probably make my dream house one of these days. I always tell myself I need to find things to make because I feel like I'm running out of content of like what to make or build. But then I turn around and I have more content to make, more ideas. Because after this build, next week I think I'm gonna make Catherine's wedding venue, because Catherine needs a venue, and she's a very city girl, so I'm thinking she'll just get married in the city on a rooftop. It'll be very beautiful. I'm thinking in the fashion district. Maybe. We'll see. Yeah, it'll probably be in the fashion district. Because her husband is from the Upper West Side. North Side? North? So if you're up north, you're usually better off in life, and then I think the further you go south, you're not as wealthy, if I understand geography, but I could be super wrong. But anyways, I don't know how I got from how I hate making stores to talking about geography. I'm sorry guys if you're trying to keep up, but I have stories for you guys this week. I usually try to start off every speed build with me talking about the build, and then when I get very bored of me talking about the build, I'll tell you guys a story. But I have a couple of stories for you guys, and I know you're not supposed to talk about family, but we are, because it's great. So where do I start? We're gonna talk about my grandma for hopefully the next 20 minutes or so. So, my grandparents are happily married. They're very elderly. They fight in front of me all the time, but that's just because they're elderly and they act like children. But my grandparents are happily married in their late 80s. They're really, really old. And my grandma, in the past couple of months, has been in and out of the hospital because it's her fault. Like, I usually, when someone goes to the hospital, I care so much, but I mean, if she didn't go to the hospital for this one stupid reason, I wouldn't care. I mean, I would care, but because it's this one stupid reason, I don't care. She is severely dehydrated. That is the only reason why she continues going to the doctor, is because she's severely dehydrated. Like, we take her to the doctor, she calls in the middle of the night, always in the middle of the night. It can't be like in sometime during the day, even though we're busy because, you know, we're Americans. But it's always in the middle of the night she has to call with like stomach pains or something, right? Something that hurts. And so my mom will take her to the doctor. And that's not her mom. My grandma, who lives here nearby in the same town, actually on the other side of town, but still in town. That's not my mom's mom, that's my dad's mom. And she'll take her to the hospital because my dad usually is at work, so usually when he gets off, he'll just take over and go finish going to the doctor with my grandma. And it's all because she's severely dehydrated. Like, the doctors can't find anything with her, they run tests, and it's all because she's severely dehydrated. And I think my grandma might be becoming old and senile. I mean, I already know she's old, but I think she's also becoming senile. And it's mostly because I'm very busy. I have work, school, this thing, and I don't see my grandparents too often, but I see them maybe once a week. And I don't see them too often, but my mom goes to check on them every day. She makes sure my grandma's eating the right food because my grandma, like I said, they're like children, doesn't like to eat the right food. And that's just probably, you know, what happens when you get elderly. When you become elderly. Because it's like a disease, you get elderly. Like you get AIDS or something, you get elderly. No. When you become elderly, maybe that's when you're just like, no, I don't want to listen to my doctor, I'm gonna do whatever I want. And that's exactly what my grandma does. My grandpa, the doctor's like, eat wheat bread. She's like, no, I only eat white bread. Screw what my doctor says. and stuff like that. So my mom goes to check up on her, make sure she's taking the right medication, make sure she eats what she's supposed to, like wheat bread. Grandma, she doesn't listen to this, and she doesn't know how to work the internet or her TV sometimes, so there's no way she'll ever hear this. Anyways, and so the other day I was about to leave my house to go to my friend's house because she recently broke up with her girlfriend, and I was like, I'm just gonna go, you know, to my friend's house, see how she's doing, because they've been together for like 2 years, but that's besides the point. And I was about to leave my house, and my grandpa calls, and he's like, is Grandma over there with you? And mind you, we live on the complete opposite side of town. It's not like we're just next door. We're on the complete opposite side of town. Like you're gonna cross Main Street before you get to our side of town. And I was like, no. He's like, oh, okay. Because we ate lunch, and then I fell asleep on the couch. And then I woke up and I couldn't find her. And I was like, what do you mean you can't find her? And he's like, because I can't find her. I looked around, and I went to the backyard, and I yelled for her, but I couldn't find her. And I was like, oh my god, Grandma finally went crazy. She lost it. She lost her marbles. I can't believe this is happening to me right now. And so I was at home with my sisters, and my parents weren't home. They went to the store in the next town over. And I was like, Mom, what do I do? She's like, just go check. I'm not going to drive back over there. Because the next town over is like 10, 15, 20 minutes away. Maybe. And she was like, I'm not going to drive back. Just go check to see if you can find your grandma. So I go over to my grandparents' house. I open the door, and my grandpa's like in the kitchen, which, I mean, you can see the kitchen from the living room. And I was like, did you find her? He's like, no, not yet. And I walked into the kitchen, and my grandma's coming in from the backyard. And I was like, oh, and she was like, oh, hi, Dylan, how are you? And I was like, oh, good, how are you, Grandma? She's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, Grandpa said he couldn't find you. And she's like, what do you mean he couldn't find me? And then he was like, where were you? I was looking for you. I called your name. I looked in the backyard. And she's like, I saw you in the backyard. I was watering the plants. And they're also deaf, like they need hearing aids. So if he called her, she didn't hear him because she's elderly. And Grandpa, this was like hide and go seek with my grandma. So she was out in the backyard, and apparently this is how my grandpa went to the backyard to look for her. He went over to the sliding glass door, opened it, stuck his head out, looked around, and then closed it because he didn't see her. How was that looking for her? And then apparently when I was on my way over, he called me, my parents, my aunt who lives just around the corner from them, and my aunt's neighbor, a few of his neighbors, because they're all like friends. And apparently like half of my town was looking for my grandma for a hot minute. When in reality she was just in the backyard watering her plants, because they have like a huge victory garden type of thing. Like their garden is just huge. It has orange trees, what else? A bunch of vegetables that I don't know and I cannot identify. But a bunch. It takes up like a third of their property. Not that their property is like super huge, but I mean it takes up a big chunk of it, like at least the size of their house. And they have like a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, kitchen, dining room, living room, garage, and a washer and dryer room. So it takes up like maybe a little bit more than their house, yeah. And I was there with them, and then all of a sudden my aunt comes in through the front door, and she's crying because she thought she lost her sister. And she was like, oh, thank God you were found. I thought you just finally lost it, and I was driving really slow through your neighborhood because I expected to see you, like, in your neighbor's bushes. And I was like, oh my God, the panic that my grandpa caused just because he couldn't, like, look for her. It was ridiculous. I don't want to get old. I really don't. Like, there's a part of me that really wants to get old, but there's another part of me that doesn't. Because, like, I want to get old for the right reasons. Because I want to be fulfilled with life. I want to have done everything that I've wanted to do. Like, travel and work and have kids and a family. And then there's another part of me that's like, I don't want to get old because I don't want wrinkles. And I don't want to be old and senile, and I don't want to die, but yeah, I know that I can't have one and not the other. You can't have one without the other, that's just reality. But I really hope when I become old, I don't end up like my grandparents who are like, causing a panic. And actually that raises up another question. When I'm my grandparents' age, well, I'll have grown up with technology. I will know social media. So if I tried to pull the same thing that my grandpa did, would I be on like Snapchat sending out snaps like, hey, I can't find my husband, I don't know where he is. I don't know why I turned black there for a second, I'm so sorry. I can't find him anywhere, and I don't know, I looked everywhere, and I barely looked in the backyard, but I can't find him anywhere. I looked and I screamed his name, and I just can't find him. Is that what would happen in the future with social media? I just don't know. Elderly people, it's true what they say. They end up turning into children again, because, you know, I'm pretty sure you've all heard the saying that elderly people, at some point, they start turning into kids again. They start acting like children. It's true. My grandparents are super old and they act like children. And sometimes it's super annoying. Actually, the other day, and my mom would be so mad if I told you guys a story, but I'm going to tell you anyways because it's funny. The other day, so my grandma and my parents got a housekeeper to take care of my grandma and grandpa because they can't take care of themselves, really. I mean, they can still use the bathroom, take a shower, yada yada. But my mom wanted somebody to be there to make sure my grandma ate the right food, took her pills, basically the same thing my mom does, except my mom has to raise me and my sisters. You know, she has to be a mom still, and she still has to work because this is also America, and there's no such thing as a one-parent household anymore, for the most part. And so we got her a housekeeper. And my grandma made her cry. She told her that she doesn't want her there anymore, and she just made this housekeeper cry. It was so great. My mom told me, and I was like, damn, my grandma still got it. Praise Jesus. She still got it, but the housekeeper's still there. And apparently, my mom was telling me that it seems like my grandma's getting better because she doesn't want the housekeeper there. Or she's acting like she's better. Because at first she couldn't pick up. She was like just in pain all the time, and she was acting like a child, and now she doesn't. She's acting like a full-grown adult now, and she can take care of herself. And my grandma's just trying to prove to everyone that she could still take care of herself because she doesn't want that woman there to take care of her. I don't want to like agree with my grandma because it's not right that she made a grown woman cry, but to an extent, I know where my grandma's coming from. To be able to, like, for years, you know, you take care of yourself, you feed yourself, you clean your house, and then one day somebody comes in and just, like, deems you unworthy of doing stuff you've been doing your whole life. Yeah, and it's really, like, putting my grandma down. She threatened my mom that if she keeps the housekeeper, that she's gonna make her move furniture around and clean places that my grandma's literally never cleaned before. And my mom was like, no, we're gonna keep her, because you're lying, you're not gonna make her do that. And then my mom came to check on my grandma at lunch, and she had the housekeeper moving her bed and like vacuuming underneath my grandma's bed. I have gone to my grandma's house as a kid for sleepovers and stuff because I didn't get cable in my house until I was like a freshman in high school. Yeah, I was a freshman in high school when I finally got cable and internet in my house. And so I would have to go to my grandma's house if I wanted to watch cartoons. And I remember being a kid and seeing a thick layer of dust underneath my grandparents' bed. And I could only imagine that as a kid, that was when I was in elementary school, my grandparents were a lot more mobile. I highly doubt that that got cleaned since then. And my grandma was having her move stuff like the bed to vacuum under there just because she didn't want her there. My grandma could be a mean old lady sometimes. I love her and God bless her heart, but yeah. And I'm getting close to the end of the video, guys. Some takeaways for today. I guess don't be mean to your housekeepers. Embrace being elderly with open arms. And if your grandma goes missing, just check the backyard. Because she's probably there. And I'm sorry, this is just a very long rant of a video. I feel like most of my videos are like that. I'm starting to get a formula in where I talk about the build for the first like 4 or 5 minutes, and then I talk about stories, which I think is I'm starting to fit into that, which I love. I love having a set formula schedule. And so I'm going to leave this part off here. If you want to find this lot, you can find it in the gallery by searching me, DillysSims, or I'm going to name the house right here, right now. I called it a house. It's not a house, it's a store. It's, what do the Sims call it? They don't call it a store, they call it a retail lot. If you want to find this retail lot, you can find it in the gallery by searching, gosh. Yeah, by searching the name, and wait for it, Bridal Boutique. Whoa, I blew all of your minds right now. If you want to share anything with me, tag it in the gallery with the hashtag DillysSims. Or if you want to create something for my series, Girls in the City, you can create anything. You can create men for the girls to sleep with. You can create residential lots for them to look at. I feel like since they're young adults, they need to do more shopping and clubbing. I just haven't taken them shopping or clubbing, and I really should. But anyways, that's besides the point. You can tag your creation for that specific series with the hashtag DillysGirls, DillysGirls. And if you like my build and you're like, I wonder what else this guy's created before, you can find me in the gallery. I'm there. You could search my name, DillysSims, the same way it's spelled here on YouTube, but I'll spell it anyways, DillysSims. Or, actually, yeah, that's the only way you could do it. Or actually, you could type in the hashtag DillysSims, DillysSims, and some of my stuff will show up too, whatever I've tagged with that, which I don't think is a lot, but you'll still find me that way. And I'm gonna leave this part off here. I already said that, didn't I? And I'm gonna catch all of you guys next time. Bye, everybody.